Welcome to Director Pepper Social Club on the Daily Parks and Rec Show, where parks and recreation leaders share ideas, experiences, and leadership insights. Today we're bringing you an inspiring conversation filled with lessons, strategies, and stories that make a difference. Every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where leaders connect and grow. In this episode, we explore how the Director Pepper Social Club brings parks and recreation leaders together to share ideas, strengthen leadership, and build more connected, efficient, and impactful communities through collaboration and innovation.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Happy Friday. A Friday before my last Friday at the city of Lake Elsinore. I'm kind of excited about that. My name is Jonathan Papa J. Skinner. I'm very happy to be here to be one of the podcasters for the DPRS media. This is the leadership series. This one specifically is called the Director Pepper Social Club. A little bit of information about the Director Pepper Social Club. It actually started with three of my other colleagues, Kevin Hawkins, Brian Ambrose, and Jonathan Nix. A couple of guys wanted to get together in Southern California, directors, but we wanted to be able to communicate on a more personal level. So we went to breakfast. Actually, we went to lunch. First one to go was Kevin Hawkins, and he ordered a Dr. Pepper. I come up later. I ordered a Dr. Pepper. Jonathan Nix ordered a Dr. Pepper, and Brian Ambrose ordered a Dr. Pepper. Thus, the Dr. Pepper Social Club was created. And again, it was an opportunity for directors down in our area to get together. We started to invite more individuals to the Dr. Pepper Social Club. There's over 20 agencies down in Southern California, meet on a quarterly basis, but we also share information on a constant basis to help us do a better job. One of the things about the Dr. Pepper Social Club is the social aspect of it, the communication, and to find out how each one of us are doing, personally in our personal lives, to help us be more productive in our professional lives. We have a great guest on the show. I'll introduce him in a minute. But for right now, I'd like to have Jovi and Carlo go ahead and show our intros.
In today's parks and recreation industry, communication, safety, and efficiency go hand in hand. That's where Outdoor Link comes in, delivering smart technology that empowers city departments and community planners to do more, smarter. Outdoor Link's platform connects and automates everything that keeps your parks running smoothly, from lighting and locks to signage, water features, Wi-Fi, and digital advertising. Control and schedule park lights for safety and energy savings. Remotely manage facility access. Coordinate fountains and splash pads. Provide public connectivity. All from one simple, unified platform, giving you real-time control, data, and cost efficiency. For parks and recreation agencies, that means safer spaces, smarter resource use, faster responses, and stronger community engagement. And behind every great park story is great infrastructure. That's why Outdoor Link proudly supports DPRS Media Company, helping the Daily Parks and Rec Show amplify the voices of professionals shaping our communities every day. Outdoor Link, smart, connected solutions for parks, recreation, and beyond.
Well, so those are a couple of our sponsors. Definitely Outdoor Link. Dave Ramirez has a show called Smart Parks, which is pretty awesome. We have a great number of shows that are out there that are just coming on too. So you definitely got to follow us on LinkedIn, follow us on Facebook. We're all over the place. Follow us on X. The live shows are actually done on Facebook, LinkedIn, and X. So definitely, come in and see us. Now, it is my honor to introduce somebody that I've known for several years. Actually, he helped design our very first pump track in the area, and we did some pretty incredible things while we were doing it, putting together, getting community input that hadn't been done before. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and privilege to introduce the great Doug Grove. Hi, how you doing today, Doug?
Jonathan, good. Not sure if I deserve that, but I appreciate it. And thanks for having me on.
So, what I'd like to start with, Doug, is I'm really big into Marvel movies and a little bit of DC as well. But they talk about origin stories of how superheroes, how they get started. So, what is the Doug Grove origin story of how you started your different career goals to be where you're at right now?
Well, I will say it all goes back, quite honestly, to the Brady Bunch. For those of you old enough to remember that show, I used to watch that show. I thought it's great that Mike was always on as an architect. I thought he's always at home. I go, this would be kind of fun. Maybe I could be architect and be home with my kids. And so that led me to college, and I was going to be an architect, and then discovered landscape architecture when I was at Cal Poly, and that sounds even funner. So I decided to move into that field. As I got out of got into the profession, I thought we were just going to do landscape design. Didn't really know much about park design at all. Just thought, oh, we're just going to do landscape stuff. And in 1988, went to our first CPRS Parks and Rec conference. So down in Long Beach, changed my life. Wanted to know who all these people were who were having a great time, were having fun. It was crazy. And I thought I could spend my life working with these people. They really are genuine, sincere. Now they're all retired, but I'm still here. But that's okay. So that just kind of led me down the path of Parks and Recreation. I haven't missed a conference for CPRS since 1988. Been every single one of them. As I moved along in my career, I was involved in CPRS as much as I could be. When my kids got into high school and I was a little less busy with them, I really dove in about 2008, 2009 with the local District 11 and got involved there. And then that just kind of led me up the chain to having the absolute honor, and I mean honor, to be the president of CPRS a couple of years ago. It's truly something I never had on my path. I didn't really think that was ever going to happen, but was very honored and very lucky to be able to do that for a year and lead an amazing group of professionals, 4,000 plus in the state. So it's been pretty cool.
Now, hold on one sec, because your presidency, was it the socks or the shoes?
It's the shoes. It has my shoes. Yeah, I had. Well, it was funny because the board at that time, CPRS board, was they were into Vans. I don't like Vans because I'm a big guy, I'm tall, and so I never wore Vans. So they were all into wearing Vans. So the year that I was going to be president was going to be the color red. That's what I had chosen. So I was going to get some red shoes. That'd be kind of fun. And I was on Vans website, and my wife goes, "Hey, you can customize those on the Vans site." I go, "You can?" So for those of you who've seen them, they were definitely Parks and Rec and CPRS customized. And I wore those pretty much every event I was at for a year. So yeah, it was kind of the fun thing. And my current president, Jenny Worsham, has a pair of shoes that are CPRS based as well. So it's kind of fun.
So go along with the whole CPRS and get into RHA. That's a great planning organization, and talk about that, because you are RHA, and now you've even transitioned to a partnership.
Yeah, when I started with Randy Lubick, the old timers, if you're on there, will know Randy. He started the company in 1979. I joined him in 85, worked there for a year, and then left for about 8 years, came back in 94. And then just it was a great planning firm. Did some parks, did home builder stuff, but I just really dove into the park side when I was working with the previous firm, which was Elliott Maloney. Tim Maloney, who many of you may know, was a big park designer, and it got me down that path. So when I came to Randy's, that was kind of my side of the business, and just really enjoyed designing parks. And so worked with Randy up until 2018. Retired. We did a lot of parks and recreation work, master plans, and we worked with many people in the state. When he was going to retire, I bought the firm from him and became the face of the firm. Many people thought I was the face of the firm before that, but I really wasn't. It was Randy. So then, just ran the firm. And then just at the beginning of this year, a longtime friend of mine, Scott Rice, who owned Community Works Design Group, which was actually Elliott Maloney under a new name. We decided to join forces just in February. So now we are RHA Community Works, and with specialties in everything from park master plans to access specialty assessments, you name it. And it's just really been great to hopefully put the RHA brand on a lot of parks and recreation facilities, parks around the state, master plans, because it's something that I truly enjoy. I mean, I love parks because it gives back to the community. I'm very much into servant leadership. I'm very much into serving the community, which I think is what attracted me to this profession. Everybody I work with in a city or an agency is about servant leadership and about serving the community, which I really enjoy. So I tried to make our firm RHA based in that, where we serve the community, we serve our clients, and come up with something spectacular for everybody to have.
Yeah, one of the great things, as I mentioned before, have the privilege of working with Doug and his group, RHA, when we were putting together a park element over in Serenity Park. We already had a skate park there, that was kind of popular. It was good. But we wanted to expand because at the time, and this was back in 2017, 2016?
I think 2015 actually is when we started that one.
Yeah. And I had just started with the city, and Grant Yates, who was the city manager at the time, and Jason Simpson, who was the assistant city manager, we wanted to bring more people into Lake Elsinore. So we wanted to add on to the skate park itself. There were some elements that were there, older basketball court that was rarely used, but we wanted to bring in more of kind of the action sports, because Lake Elsinore is known as the action sports capital of the world. And so working with Doug and his group, we did some community outreach where understood that they wanted to do more, because we're more of a rural kind of extreme sports kind of place. And so we wanted to build a BMX course that was there. And so working with Doug and his team, we were actually able to do a great design utilizing a finite, a very specific part of the park, and put as much activities in it as possible. So the BMX track was really, really great. Could you talk about how you were able to do that kind of design in that area that we had?
Yeah, I think, at the time, this is, a little over 10 years ago, pump tracks were around, but they really weren't, not nowadays. Everybody wants a pump track, and rightfully so. I think it serves a part of the community that wasn't being served at all. So I'm really excited to see that happening. So we teamed up with a gentleman named Canton Russell, who's a professional skateboarder for years, and worked with Action Sports Design Group there at the time. And so worked with him and his team on how to best craft something that everybody could use. And it really became what we call an all-wheel park, which is mostly what these are. If it's all asphalt, so that any kids could ride scooters, you could ride bikes, you could ride skateboards on that. Some of the pump tracks now have a combination of both, dirt and asphalt. Just depends on what you want to maintain. But it was just kind of a fun time to explore. We didn't have a lot of space. We also did a dog park right next to it. So we had a skate park, a pump track, and a dog park all there in the area. So all pretty unique things. And so it was kind of fun to kind of explore something that we hadn't done a whole lot of at the time. There wasn't much demand for that. And see that out of that and how popular that was, how that's grown in the industry. And now you've got companies out there that's all they do all around the country. So it was pretty fun to be on the leading edge of that.
And the great thing that happened, it was also Spawn Ranch that came out, is when the design was actually going on and it was actually being built, we invited members of the community, both beginners and more expert types, to come out and ride the dirt track, which was the basis of it. They were actually able to give some really great input to different kind of designs that happened. We utilized a company that typically did roads, and they've never done anything like this before. So there was a lot of firsts that happened. And so when we opened the park, we had some professional mountain bikers and some skaters that came to the opening and did some really fantastic trips and did some really great influence pieces on YouTube to bring more people to it. I remember one of the ones we did when we were opening up, I did one just riding the course itself. It actually got 74,000 views. I thought it was some kind of YouTuber. I was really excited about it.
But viral, John.
Yeah, for a good reason, not like a cold. But one of the great things that happened, we were one of the first in the area to do that. Then David Montgomery, who's now in Texas, he was working in Ontario at the time. He actually brought his team up to Lake Elsinore to check out the park. The next thing you know, as Doug just mentioned, in the next 5 years, these things are popping up all over the place. And I'm very happy to say that Lake Elsinore was one of the first in the area to have that kind of park. So that's pretty awesome. Now, the 7 degrees of separation is Scott Rice from Community Works. Actually, and this is before the partnership started, a couple of years ago, we started working on a park renovation at Christensen Park. We have a ever-growing special needs sports program that is done by an individual within the community, and we needed to have additional park amenities there for them to be have a successful program. So we started working with Scott Rice. And Scott, if you don't know, from Community Works, they've done some pretty incredible things. And actually, they're working with the city of LA for the 2028 games. So, we got all these different kind of things going. So now we're in a design phase of seeing how we can possibly do things, or Lake Elsinore can do things to meet that need, to make sure that we're doing all-inclusive recreation in Lake Elsinore. So
yeah, I think that's what I think. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Honestly, I think that's one of the things we've seen over the last couple of years, is my last maybe 5 or 10 years, is the inclusivity of everything in parks. As you mentioned, Scott, he's a certified access specialist. He does all of City of LA park reviews and so forth, and is really knowledgeable in that. Also a skater, worked at California Skate Parks, worked with some of these big skaters, Tony Hawk and so forth. So yeah, he brings a lot of that accessibility and inclusiveness into some of that design, which is great. That's one of the reasons we wanted to partner up with him, because it just expands our knowledge base. So, but yeah, the inclusivity and having these parks serve all the community, not just certain ones, is really important to me, and has become really kind of one of my main goals as I wrap up my career over the next 10 years.
Well, we'll get into CPRS in a minute, but the thing that I love about Doug and Scott is they're not only the guys who talk the talk, but they walk the walk. If you go to their pages, and you definitely need to go through LinkedIn or their Facebook pages, if Doug does not have a bike around him, then it's not Doug. The guy is riding mountain bikes all over the place. He's an active recreator, which is really kind of great. And he exudes that into the parks and everything that he helps design. Let's talk a little bit about your action sports yourself. I see you riding all over the place. What are some of the great places that you've done, here in, our area, in the California area, other places in the United States, and possibly if you've gone riding outside of the United States?
Never outside of the United States. I'd love to do that, but for right now, yeah, pretty much the Western United States. Yeah, I started riding seriously again in 2018 because many of you know I have arthritis in my hip, so it's helped loosen that up. Turned into a super passion. I've always been an outdoor person, loved hiking and stuff when I was younger. Since then, I've ridden over 23,000 miles through trails all around California. Probably my favorite places in Southern California. I'm up to Big Bear, going down their hills. Sky Park's a place up by Lake Arrowhead, and just local trails here in Riverside. There's just lots of trails you can ride. My favorite place to ride altogether is in Utah, around St. George, the hurricane area, Mount Zion. That's just one of the most beautiful places on earth. If you've ever been there, I highly recommend it. It's only 6.5 hours from LA, so pretty easy to get to. But that's really a great place. But yeah, I've ridden all the way up in Washington, Utah, Nevada, everything west of the Rockies. So maybe when I can retire sometime in the future, I can go ride the rest of the country. But for right now, I ride every day pretty much. Yeah, it's if I'm not riding 40 to 60 miles a week or more, something's wrong. So it's really a very passion, and it does help me, I think, understand recreation more and what people need to do to get outside and enjoy themselves.
And I think that's really important. That as recreators, we not only walk the walk, but we talk the talk, but we walk the walk. That's why I'm always trying to go out, and I love fishing. Fishing is one of my passions. The other one is golf. Not very good at golf, not very good at fishing, but it's something that I really enjoy. It helps center me. One of the things, we just had a great meeting with podcasters this morning, led by Craig, and he says, always try to look for your why. Why are you doing this? Why is this your success story? And mine is, I started fishing with my dad when I was a kid, and that was our thing. The other 7 siblings had other things, but that was our thing. And golf was the other thing. And so that's something that I've always tried to do with myself and my kids and my grandkids now, is to have that link with sports and activities, to link to my kids and actually link to my friends and other colleagues. I just see here a question or a post from Aaron Locks. And just to let you know, if you have questions, definitely go ahead and put it in the chat. We'll go ahead, and if Doug or I can answer anything, we'd love to. So Aaron Locke says, can you have Doug share about his sunset or sunrise bike rides?
Yeah. Hey, Aaron, good to see you, or good to hear you. Aaron, a good friend of mine and I met him obviously through CPRS. So well, my schedule is such, obviously running a business. I have limited time to ride during the middle of the day. So I either ride early in the morning at 6, which I did this morning as always, or I ride in the evenings when I get home. So just by that chance, I have a great opportunity to see pretty amazing sunrises and some sunsets, and just love photography with my phone. People say I should sell my photos. I go, no, you can sell my photos. You can just look at them. But I do enjoy it. I do enjoy capturing the moment on film when I'm biking. And so, yeah, as Aaron said, if you go to, or as Jonathan said, if you go to my Facebook page or Instagram, you will see a lot of sunrise and sunset pictures on there. And because it's just a beautiful time in the morning or the evening. And being in Riverside, we're fortunate we get a lot of great sunrises and sunsets. So yeah, it's one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah, and for me, even though you didn't ask me, Aaron, I'm going to tell you anyway. But for me, it's the similar kind of thing. What I typically do, at least once or twice a month, is I go fishing first thing in the morning. Lake Elsinore has one of the most beautiful lakes, and I was up in Tahoe, so it's really great. So I go fishing first thing in the morning. I usually see one of our council members, Bob, I call him Catfish, Bob Catfish McGee, out there fishing. And to be there the most serene, you're not hearing a lot of cars. You're not hearing all this other stuff. You're just watching the sun come up. And the thing is, whether you catch a fish or not, it still helps ground you. And some of my pictures, they say that kind of thing too, Doug. They're like, man, how'd you get the sunrise? Can I buy it from you? I said, no, you can download it. I can send it to you. But, the whole thing is we want to share that beauty that a lot of people, because they don't wake up until like 7:30 or 8 o'clock in the morning, they don't get to see. But us crazy guys that are, up at 4 or 5 in the morning, we, okay, you know what? I'm going to go out and fish and take some great pictures. And you meet a lot of great people out when you're doing, activities that you might not normally get to meet. I just met a gentleman last week who was out fishing, and I'm, like I said, I'll be retiring next week. He retired 6 years ago, and so we were talking about the whole retirement thing and family and everything like that. And so you have that opportunity to meet people that you wouldn't normally meet because you're at work or you're doing something else. But so what I want to hit on real quick is CPRS. You talked a lot about that, and you've been a trailblazer in CPRS and the management and the professionalism of CPRS. What has been your greatest accomplishment with CPRS as a leader in the organization?
Well, I think we just recently, for those of you who know, we just revamped our pillars, our CPRS framework, and it just happened to fall the year I was president. It wasn't my brainchild. Actually, Stephanie Stevens, who's our amazing executive director based out of Sacramento, she had the idea that we needed to kind of relook at how we were focusing our framework for CPRS for our districts and sections and members. And so we had a great session at one of our board meetings up in Lake Tahoe, and just came up with the new card framework that you obviously most of you have seen. So I feel like that I've done a lot of great things, not great things. I've done things for CPRS and helped fundraise and do things like that for over 30 years. But I think that I feel so honored to be part of that group. It wasn't me. It was our whole group, our board at the time, that put that together, and the leadership. But it really has, from what I've seen over the next couple of years, it's really kind of helped refocus. We have a lot of new leaders in CPRS, which is exciting. A lot of young people coming in, and it really kind of gives them a real guideline on what CPRS is about. I would say, and I haven't been a part of a lot of organizations, but I would say one of the best organizations it's around. I've had friends come from other organizations, engineers, come to our shows and our things, and they go, "Who are these people? Where do they come from?" And I said, "They're Parks and Rec people. They're the best." I said, I spent my whole career with them, and they said they're amazing. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. And so having a little bit to do with that new framework, and so we can continue to promote parks, recreation, and equality in parks and programs for everybody, was that will probably be the one thing I remember the best for what we've done with that organization.
Now, what I take from what Doug says is very true. Be part of your state organization. Here in California, we have CPRS. Nevada, there's the Nevada Parks and Recreation Society. There's so many different ones. If you have an organization, you need to be part of it and start out small, just attend an event, then work yourself up to actually being on a local or a district board, and then possibly going in to be like, Doug and be the president of the organization. I also encourage all of you to go out and start speaking at your local level. So at your staff meetings, and then work to, your district meetings, conferences. There we go. Running a session. Your knowledge that you have, other people are going to want to have. So they don't have to reinvent the wheel. They'll just need to change the tires and everything. And then work your way up to the national organization. NRPA is always looking for great speakers. If you think you can, you can. And it's one of those opportunities that I've been very fortunate to be able to do. Doug himself, I love seeing Doug at conference at NRPA. He, age is just a number. Doug is running around like he's some 18-year-old, just meeting different people and getting them active and interested in our field. So it's really great. So listen, we're going to go to a break real quick. Jovi and Carlo are going to show us some great commercials that we have, and then we'll come back and have some more great conversation with Doug.
They say it's Just Rec. Just Rec, where kids learn to try again. Just Rec, where confidence begins, where teamwork, effort, and fun matter more than trophies. It's not about perfection. It's about participation. It's not just rec. It's where kids learn to love the game and themselves. It's just rec until they learn teamwork for life. It's just rec, but it's everything to them. It's more than rec. It's a movement. It's just rec until you realize it's shaping the next generation. Together, we're not just running programs, we're building a culture of confidence, connection, and community. Join us.
JDP Services Management Consulting, supporting parks and recreation and the essential service they provide. Communities benefit greatly from having dedicated advocates who champion the value of play in open spaces. Such advocacy ensures that recreational areas are prioritized and managed in ways that enhance the overall quality of life for everyone. We are dedicated to fortifying public park and recreation agencies and other related organizations by taking a practical, engaged approach to consulting and training, addressing immediate needs while equipping clients with lasting insight and tools to strengthen their organizations for long-term success. JDP Services, Management Consulting, meeting needs and exceeding expectations.
Wow, thank you for that. You know, the first one that you saw, Just Rec, I really internalized that because a lot of our staff, especially the young ones that are just starting out, they say, "Oh, I'm just a rec aide," or "I'm just this." That is the wrong mentality to have. The mentality should be is I am a recreation aide and I am a recreation leader, because when you look at it, I have grandkids, and growing up in recreation, those rec leaders or those rec aides are the ones who got me to where I'm at today. I wanted to be them because they are able to have positive interactions with kids that show them that they are valued. So I don't like the word, well, I'm just a recreation, or I'm just a director, or I'm just, Doug Grove, the Superman of everything. I believe that everybody needs to see their value, and that kind of stuff is really, really important. JDP Services, that's a buddy of mine, John Prue, who's really heavily into military recreation. He's the guy who actually got me started, one of the guys that got me started in NRPA, doing the going over all the sessions for the national conference that we have. And it's pretty exciting. As you see my discussion on our discussions here, it has to do with being outreach and sharing information. And DPRS Media has done some really great things. I just want to read down a really quick list of the different kind of podcasts that we have going on. Of course, we start with the man, the myth, the legend, Craig LeBlanc, who is the doorman, but he also has the leadership series that runs several times during the week. Then you go to Tom White, who has Safe Spaces and Green Places. That's talking about the mental health of recreation and how we need to take care of ourselves to be able to take care of others. Talked about John Prue on the front lines, who talks about military recreation. Then you go to Wesley King, who's after this show. He's our Aquaman, so he has the aquatics life. Dave Ramirez, Smart Parks, Outdoor Link. Beatrice Vasquez. I'm not going to say her middle name because I'm going to mess it up. Sorry, Beatrice. But she's just started a new one this week, Arts and Parks and Rec. It's really great. Ali has one that is the Parks and Tech Collective, talking about how we all use technology to do our jobs better. Rebecca Soremo and Patricia Mullen has Wreck Yourself, which is going to be coming your way. Aaron Locks, of course, Youth Sports Mastery. Jordan Ziff has this great one, which is called Athletics Commute. And she actually she's a professional athlete. She interviews professional athletes, but it's in a vehicle going to maybe their job or something like that. So it's pretty cool. And we have some other ones that are in the pipeline. So definitely stay tuned to DPRS Media, see the different kind of things we go on. We talked about it. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, X, Spotify, a bunch of other things that are coming. So very excited about that. Now, the partnership that you have with Scott, tell me how that started, because you have some similarities, but you have some differences. And then where do you see that in the next, 5 to 10 years?
And actually, I'm going to first touch on something you said earlier, and then I'll hear about that. Talked about recreation aid, recreation leader, whatever, and having that high level of esteem. We tell a lot of people, whether it's a park maintenance person who's out there mowing the grass, or whether it's a recreation leader, you are literally the face of your city. Most people will never go into City Hall. They'll never go to a council meeting. They don't even know who the mayor is, but they know who the person is that signed up for that show or that program, one who led their kids to some program out in the field, someone who did the 4th of July event. You literally are the people they see as a city. So your role is, quite honestly, in my opinion, just as important as your director. So don't downplay yourself. And quite honestly, I know a lot of directors now because I've been doing this for a long time. And all of them I met when they were rec aides, rec leaders, rec supervisors. So you do this and you put your heart and soul into it, and you will be at that higher level at some point in your career. But don't ever downplay what you were doing out there in the field. It is the most important thing you can be doing. So I touch on that because that's what I've seen over my career. But yeah, as far as our new firm, our kind of combined firm, like I said, Scott has been designing parks and recreation facilities for a long time as well. He's a little bit younger than I am, which is kind of part of the reason we did this. I'm 64, not planning on going anywhere for another 10 years. I love what I do, but got to have some way to start winding things down. But in the meantime, we're just excited about the fact that we can join forces with his knowledge and his expertise and things that I've learned over the years in this profession, and just provide our agencies who work with just even more high-level service, whether it's from access specialists to master plans, to park design, playground design, whatever it is, whatever you need. We just feel we've got just a better team now, a bigger team now that can do that. We just see it growing. Right now is probably one of the busiest times in the parks recreation world, which you probably wouldn't think it was, because the ARPA funding dried up at the end of the last year. There doesn't seem to be a lot of money out there. Budgets are tight, but we're seeing probably more RFPs come in for park design work, master plans, than we've seen in quite a while. And I kind of attribute it to this. I've told this to several people, and they agree. For years and years, the leaders that are there now, we call Gen X, mid 40s to 50s, worked kind of in a subservient role under the previous generation. Didn't get a chance to do a lot of things sometimes, things they wanted to do. Well, now that generation has moved on and the new leadership is there, and they want to do a lot, whether it's Parks Commission, whether it's a city council. They're all trending younger, and they're excited to do stuff. And so that really is great for the community, because we all serve the community in one way or the other. And that's kind of why I feel that we come, even though I'm on the private side, the dark side, I guess you might say, we come alongside the agencies to help serve the community. And so the fact that there's a desire to do a lot of these upgrades and park plans and master plans really benefits the community, and they're just finding ways to get money to do that. So we're just glad to be kind of riding that wave and being able to help bring more joy and more excitement to all these communities that we work with.
That leads to a couple of questions. First one, how do you see parks either being designed or being retrofitted to meet the needs of the inclusionary population. And then, oh, go ahead.
No, good. Finish up.
And then funding, you talked a little bit about that. That seems to be one of the biggest things because there's only so much money in a CIP or a capital improvement project or plan, and funding sources to pay for these kind of upgrades that are needed to make sure that we have recreation for all.
Yeah, I think, what the exciting part about what I see going in park design, again, I've been designing parks since the mid 80s. One of the things that we're seeing now, and we touched on earlier, pump tracks, skate parks, kind of more, not just sports fields. I mean, for years and years and years, all we'd hear from an agency is we need more soccer fields, we need more baseball fields, which, was a legit request. There's still a demand for some of that too. Because that was the thing we did. It was sports parks and community centers. And I think what we've seen, as we mentioned earlier, is there's a trend for more different types of things for kids to play in. Some kids don't want to play sports. Some kids want to just go to do dance or music. So there's a place for that, a program for that we're seeing more and more. And then having a skate park. We're working on a park for a builder out in city of Paris, and there was going to be a big soccer field, and the city came back and said, look, we want a pump track here. That's really what our residents want to have. We don't need the soccer field, which I don't think I would have ever thought I heard that from any agency. So we flipped the script and took out the soccer field and the designer putting in a pump track. And because so I'm excited for that, because I feel like there's a lot of kids that they kind of get left out of the mix when they don't have something that they really enjoy. And that goes all the way to the inclusionary, playgrounds and just facilities in general. We're really seeing playgrounds evolve right in front of our eyes as far as what is possible, and how we can include, all kids with even any types of disabilities or any types of challenges in their life. We're making sure that these playgrounds are meeting those needs, and the playground reps we work with, whether it's landscape structures or Game Time or Miracle, whoever it is, Compad, they're all on board as well. They have a lot of leadership in their organizations that are working towards those goals as well. So it's really, really changed the entire shape of what you see in a playground or a park that you would never have seen 10, 15 years ago. So that's very exciting, and we're excited to be part of that as well.
And it's got to be great working with Scott as far as the legalities. I was just thinking about that where you're talking about it. And, as I was coming through and actually with the pump track and skate parks and those kind of things, there's always that, you want to have that kind of extreme or that really kind of, pushing the edge kind of recreation. But then you have to look at the other side on, well, am I going to get sued? Just to be quite frank, how in the park design and discussions that you have with organizations, do you hope to mitigate those to make it so you can still do some, maybe not extreme, but something pushing more of the envelope without, worrying about getting the legal part?
Sued?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was always a really big challenge in the late 80s, early 90s. And then I don't remember what year it was, but the state of California, at least, kind of created a new law. It was kind of almost like I say, just participate at your own risk. If you're over 14 years old and you got hurt in a skate park, the limit, you were limited more on what you could do. And I don't know all the legalities of it, but it really changed the way Purkis Rose at the time, if you remember Purkis Rose, they became the skate park designer, in California. They did, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of those. That really changed the game. And so we still deal with liability. We have the amount of money we pay for liability insurance every year would probably be surprising to you, but we do that. And it's interesting, where we do a skate park or we do, whether it's a pump track. I know Scott worked on one of the Enchanted Hills Park in Paris, which is pretty phenomenal, little mountain bike area. You pray no one's going to sue the city. I think there's become an understanding in the community that if you have these type of features in a park, as long as they're designed correctly and provide, I think, for all levels of experience, and that's the big thing, is that you've got to provide, beginner level to maybe advanced level. You can't just have an advanced skate park or an advanced, bike park. You've got to have something for every kid to do. Marina Valley just completed one the American Ram Company out there is phenomenal. It's got the small areas for the little kids on the little Strider bikes, all the way up to some big wood ramps for the older kids. And so yeah, it is always a concern. I mean, you never want to be sued or named in a lawsuit. You just try to safeguard yourself with the way you design things, and work with the manufacturers to make sure that they've got coverage as well. And knock on wood, somewhere we haven't never been involved in one of those. So we feel like we're doing a pretty good job of making those designs work.
And that's so true. We several years ago we redid the park, our largest park up at McVicker Park, and it was wooden ramps. And back in the day, before I started in 2014, we actually used to have it staffed, and it got to be a little cumbersome and problem because people are always starting to look at how can I get some money that for something that my kid likes to do. So we took the staff away from it. And then when we redesigned the park, it's similar like you were talking, Doug, we made it very different elements. So anything from beginner, you just got a skateboard, to those who are, competing. And so these different elements, especially from the beginner elements, the experienced pros, sorry, that's my dog. Get in here. Sorry. We talked about this. Things happen when you're doing
dog break
recording. Yes, dog break. So, the different elements that we have, they're able to, the more experienced ones are still able to use the beginner ones to do some of the tricks, and then their experienced ones, the more expert ones. So that goes a long way with that. So CPRS, I see a lot of great things happening. We have some great leadership that is coming up. What do you hope to see from this new leadership that is going to take CPRS and maybe recreation to that next level?
Yeah, like I said earlier, I said you've got a whole generation. For those of you who are Parks and Rec TV show fans, Leslie Nopes and everybody I've said this to thinks that as a compliment, so I can say it, and I feel no one's going to be offended. But because what that is just energy. There's an energy in, and I'm not sure nationwide, I'm sure it's the same thing, but in California for sure, just an energy in the leadership that is there. Not that the previous leadership didn't have energy, but as they had a different energy, a different way of doing things, and so there's this newfound desire to really make a difference in the communities. Our current president, Jenny Worsham, easily probably one of the nicest, most genuine people you'll ever meet. Has, as we all tend to have at that position, imposter syndrome. I don't really deserve to be here, but she truly does. And the leaders, last year, Cindy Bagley and Kyla Brown. Previously, coming up, we got Nick Kalabaka and Adam Chow. They're those leaders who are right now. They're directors. They're in the mix of this. They've been involved in CPRS for 10, 20 years, and so they understand the organization, what it means, and how important it is to the networks you create with friends and just I would say 80% of my friend base is based out of CPRS. I mean, if I didn't have that, I wouldn't have many friends. So thank you all for being my friends. Yeah, I think it's critical, and I think I am so excited for the leadership on CPRS board, from the section reps to the regional reps to the executive board. And then in CPRS itself, in the state, in Sacramento, Stephanie's group, we basically have a whole new group of leaders in there that are with a lot of energy and making some changes for the better. Because I think if you're not changing, you're gonna die off, and so you always got to be looking at what you can do better next time, and they're doing that in CPRS office. So I think combined between the leadership we have now and the leadership that's in the state office as well, it's just great direction. I'm seeing it grow. We're seeing more members, and we just want to make sure that it continues to do that, because it really does help you do your job better. If you're not involved in a CPRS local district, you're really missing out. You really need to be involved in that, and across the country too. For anybody who's listening out of state, you just get involved in your local leadership groups. There's a big home builder here in California. Some of you may know William Lyon Company. I heard a thing a year ago saying his motto was volunteer for everything. I tend to be that person, as many of you know. I don't usually say no to many things, but it's true. It just opens up your whole world. And if you talk to anybody who's been involved in any organization, but especially CPRS, being involved in that changes the way that you do things, and for the better. And I can't recommend it any more than that.
Yeah, you know, as you're talking about that, I'm thinking about Craig LeBlanc. He actually hosts the YPN, or the Young Professional Network. You know, I've worked with the boys from Reckless, which is a podcast that they do. Tom, Jay, and Shane, and they've been working on the Young Professional Network on the national level, getting those young professionals together, giving them an opportunity to share and to expand their greatness. Actually, you know, I'm retiring in a week or so. I'm very happy that there are a great number of leaders within Lake Elsinore. They're going to take it 10 times farther than I've ever taken it. And, you know, thank goodness for Lake Elsinore for hiring these individuals that are looking at really activating that Dream Extreme moniker that we have. In the 10 years, 11 years, actually 11 and a half years that I've been there, I've seen a greater emphasis on STEAM and STEM by our team. They've actually went into the elementary schools, Lake Elsinore Unified School District. They've run programs through them starting at 2 or 3 schools. Now they're up to 8, hiring additional staff, bringing in revenue that will cover the cost for these new programs and also help create new ones. And so I think it's really important that we have that opportunity to take those young up and comers, to let them listen to us old guys. We know a couple things here and there, but it's up to us to step back and let them go ahead and carry the torch from there. You know, the old saying is surround yourself with great people and great things happen. I've been very fortunate in my career to be able to work with some pretty amazing people that have created new and exciting programs that are still going to this day, and looking forward to see what happens after, you know, my last day next week with Lake Elsinore. So, Doug, as you know, I'm retiring, and I know that you do various things in the community. Shameless plug. How does somebody get into the field of park planning? Now, I'm not really a park planner. I'm more of a mentor, motivational speaker, and that kind of stuff. How does somebody get into working with somebody like, you know, you and Scott and other ones that are in the business in the park planning?
Well, I think the traditional way would be obviously landscape architecture is a degree you get at Cal Poly. Others, in California at least, other schools as well. So that's one path. That's not the only path. We have a young lady here who has a degree in graphic arts, and she started working with us 22 years ago, and has now become one of our best park designers, just because she's learned through the process that we worked with her, and she's learned it. So I think the thing is, probably the key is you have to have a passion for it. You know, it's not something you just, I mean, yeah, you can just phone it in, I guess, but it really is something you have to love doing, because every park's a little different. Everybody has a little different community. So I think if you love doing that, whether you come in with a degree in architecture or planning or landscape or any degree, just find a firm that you know does this type of work and talk to them. You know, reach out to us. We have young lady going to start with us next Monday for an internship for a couple months here in the summer, going to Cal Poly. She went on our website and saw the things we were doing. Hey, I want to work with that firm because I like what they're doing. So just do some research online. And I mean, there's, you know, probably between 8 to 15 really good park design companies here in Southern California that you can find, and you can find them anywhere around the country as well. Go on their website and reach out. I mean, the nice thing about this profession is I think most of us are pretty approachable. At least I know I'd like to be, and so is Scott. So just reach out and say, hey, you know, what can I do to, how can I plan my career? And we have had some people that have gone from the public side to the private side, and some backwards. Pamela Galera, who is the Parks Director here in Riverside, fantastic lady, good friend of mine. She went from the private side. She was a landscape architect, worked for a company, ended up working for the city of Orange and Anaheim, and now director. So we've seen them go both ways. We have a young lady in our office who started out on the public side. Now she's working for us. So I think the thing is, it's you have to find out what you really love to do. Do you love doing this? And if you do, then you reach out to the firms and if you want to talk with, and we'd be glad to talk to you. So. Excellent.
So are you going to NRPA?
I am not this year. I'm getting my hip replaced finally, the end of July. So as many of you have watched me drag this old tired hip around in some of the different events, finally got it scheduled for the calendar for July 28th. So I'll have a month or two of recovery on that, and look forward to being back on the bike a couple months after that. So this year I'm trying to kind of keep my schedule a little light. Because as many of you know, when September rolls around, that's when all the fun happens in most of the park recreation. I'm sure it's all the way around the country as well. But CPRS for sure, everything happens between September and December. All of the districts, and I want to be able to be ready to travel for all that. So I'm looking forward to getting this done and move on and get to be a little bit more healthy.
Well, I'm excited. So is Scott going to be going to NRPA?
I don't think so. I don't think he is. He's very involved in ASLA, American Society of Landscape Architects. He was the president last year of that. Very involved in there, and so I think we're planning the following year to do some NRPA stuff. But this year, with the whole merger of the company, which is a lot more, we enjoy it, but there's a lot more details than we were thinking about. Taking a lot of our time, but and we're just very busy. I mean, we've got a lot of great clients we're working with, and we want to make sure we serve them as well. So it's trying to measure that. I'm also the president of the Riverside County chapter of the Building Industry Association. So kind of spread myself thin a little bit of time, so kind of measure where we go, what we do. But we're looking forward to probably hitting NRPA next year.
Well, I know that you guys are going to be going to CPRS this year.
For sure.
I was very excited and honored to get that be inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. I was very much excited that when it came to getting the recognition at my city council from the council members and the city manager, Doug Grove came and gave me that presentation. Unfortunately, Letty had other things. Her daughter is doing some pretty incredible things in sports. So Doug was able to come in, and I was really honored with you being there. And, I was a little concerned because Doug and Letty worked on a speech, and they sent it to me. I'm like, oh, wow. I didn't know our meeting was going to go like 3 hours because it was kind of long. But he was able to condense it and read it. And it was a great honor, especially with somebody that that we have history, and it really felt heartfelt that the things that we talked about, that you talked about and everything. So I really, really appreciate that. And I was glad you were able to make it. That was pretty cool.
I was honored to Jonathan. I mean, as you all heard, Jonathan was kind of the founder of this Dr. Pepper club, and it is, I mean, all who's who of great leaders here in the Inland Empire are part of that group right now, different agencies. Some of them are past CPRS presidents and so forth. So just that, I think alone, I mean, everything you've done, Jonathan, your career has been great. But I think that is kind of one of your legacies you leave, and you're still involved in it, but that you leave it, because it really is, as these leaders come into these positions, as a director, what do I do? What do I, this is different than what I was doing as a rec superintendent or a parks maintenance person. And so I think having that ability to be able to lean on that group is phenomenal. So I was very honored to be able to come down and give that award, and very, very much deserved. So.
Well, thank you very much. And, the Dr. Pepper Social Club is something that's near and dear to my heart. Kevin Hawkins just retired in April. And he was assistant city. He went on a lot of different plans. And of course, he was director over there in Temecula. but when he retired, he ended up retiring as assistant city manager. And to go there, and Brian Ambrose and I went there, and we got to hear all of his accolades, and the fact that this guy who's done all these things with Temecula went to lunch with us, and we created this thing that really is being carried on by, Kyla and Liddy and so many others. And it's really that opportunity to get together and care about each other. A lot of times things are so busy, we don't have that opportunity to do. And the Dr. Pepper Social Club is one of those that makes sure those things happen constantly and keeps going on. So, Doug, listen, I'm going to have you on here again, because this has been really kind of awesome. Everybody, if you like the content here, I definitely want you guys to come back on Fridays. We have a whole slew of shows that are coming up. After this show, we have the world famous Wesley King, our own little Aquaman, who talks about aquatics life. I want everybody to have a great weekend. I know I am. And we'll see you guys next week.
Go ride a bike.
This episode is brought to you by SDSU's Sports MBA program. If you're passionate about sports and want to work in the women's sports industry, then this is the time to pay attention. SDSU's program is 12 months accelerated hands-on learning where students have actually gotten to work with teams like the San Diego Mojo, partnered with the Farmers Insurance Open, and visited headquarters like the Upper Deck or Callaway Golf. It's built for people who want to be in rooms like that. So if you're interested, deadlines are approaching. Learn more or apply with the links in the description.
Technology isn't just changing devices, it's changing communities. It's changing how we connect, how we lead, and how we create experiences that bring people together. Because today's parks and recreation industry isn't only about fields, facilities, and programs. It's about innovation, smart systems, digital experiences, and the people transforming ideas into impact. Behind every thriving community, there are leaders embracing change. As technology evolves, parks and recreation professionals are discovering new ways to create safer spaces, stronger connections, and better experiences for everyone. This is where conversations meet innovation, where ideas become action, where parks and technology come together. Welcome to Parks and Tech Collective, streaming on CPRS Media Network.
In the parks and recreation industry, attention is limited, but influence is everything. Every day, thousands of parks and recreation professionals make critical decisions. Decisions on infrastructure, programs, technology, and vendors. The question is your brand part of that conversation? CPRS Media Network was built to answer that question. We are a dedicated media ecosystem focused exclusively on the parks and recreation industry in the United States. Through a network of daily and weekly shows, we inform, connect, and influence this audience. Our distribution spans multiple platforms: LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, X, Instagram, plus email campaigns, newsletters, podcasts, and live event coverage. This is not a single-channel strategy. It is a multi-platform media engine. Today, our network reaches over 214,000 connections, including 51,000 on LinkedIn, 64,000 on Facebook, nearly 40,000 email subscribers, and thousands more across podcast and social platforms. While some audiences overlap, our true value is not just reach, it is relevance. We speak directly to parks and recreation directors, program managers, and industry leaders, an audience that is highly targeted and actively engaged. Through CPRS Media Network, your brand integrates seamlessly into this ecosystem. Through sponsored show segments, targeted advertisement placements, podcast features, and host-read promotions, even custom branded content. Not as interruptions, but as part of the conversation. And we don't just operate online. We attend over 15 major parks and recreation conventions each year, reaching more than 24,000 professionals in person. Through live shows, interviews, and on-site media coverage, we position our partners at the center of the industry. Every piece of content we produce is amplified across our entire network. Multiple shows, multiple hosts, multiple platforms. Your message doesn't appear once, it multiplies. This is more than advertising. It is strategic positioning within a trusted media network built specifically for the parks and recreation industry. If your goal is to reach decision makers, build credibility, and stay top of mind, then it's time to partner with CPRS Media Network. Apply for partnership or sponsorship today. Let's position your brand where the industry is already paying attention.